Well, hello everyone. This is December Long Spoon for December 2022
Yeah, we're going to take you for
conversation.
a walk through our life and our home. Still a 30-minute conversation, but we've combined it with a slideshow that we've done so that you could get kind of a feeling of, of our life and the way it sits in the world. Yeah. And the conversation for this month is all about a deepening, digital deepening. What's
Of
that?
time exploration.
Of time exploration. And the other part is
I don't remember the exact words, but it's
packing up your life
That's
and
it.
sending it back to
Return to
sender.
to cinder. Oh,
I love that title.
oh, God, that was so fun.
That was fun when that came through.
That was.
Yeah.
That was. Oh, so we had the feeling that as we worked with the presentation of the long spoon, things actually fell into place quite differently than Robert and I thought, and I think all of us. It's not because, but it's where the emphasis is and where the thread of the story comes from. And the first was the digital. Can you say that again?
The digital deepening time exploration.
Yeah, and that's a whole process of who has time for anything. You know, who has time to deepen? We go through different, ideas and but it's like actually being the ideas, actually living inside the feet of those ideas. Very soon after you read the book or go to the retreat, you come back, and there is no rhythm for it. Right? It's like you learned a new way to breathe, but there's no time for that. Right. That's what I experience.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, that's the way I feel. So a lot of our journey has been to explore that. How do we change and then deepen our life to match up with it? And how long does it take to integrate a new pattern?
Yeah.
I think that is the biggest piece.
Yeah. Really.
What do you all think?
Absolutely. And just how to have a new relationship with time, and to allow that so that you can start to explore it and to be present and look at things that you never thought to look at before, that were just part of what you were indoctrinated with, what you were modeled, what you just assumed was the way everything was supposed to be, and how you were supposed to be, and how you were supposed to act and think, and all of that. And then all of a sudden, if you want to take that deep dive, you start, the whole basket gets turned upside down.
I love how one of your most recent flip books, you all talk about how make time your lover. I just love that. There's a lot to explore there with that concept.
It really is not an easy lover to get connected to.
I think it's such a cool perspective, though.
And
all around.
working with the deepening time, it doesn't always work with trying to prioritize or do lists, because time is outside of those parameters, and so
Just
how
like
do you integrate
spoon.
that?
Yeah, we don't really, we set up to do it, but when you listen and you let it roll out, because it's alive, it's image and word alive together, it's like, whoa, it rolled out differently than, was first thought or even acceptable. I want to say here, though, that we are being accompanied by one of my favorite pieces, the Lemniscate, done by Christina and Gabriel Sam. And it's just so beautiful to walk to. And we never even knew about it until we did the wonderful workshop on bees. And
That was amazing.
yeah, it was just...
Well, we do have time, so
relationship with time, huh?
we have time. So why don't you tell everyone what the Lemniscate walk is, how it's set up?
Well, and Christina can add to her feeling of it, but for me, it's the figure 8, which is infinity and it's also the Vesica Pisces, and it's all about relationship, but not only with the earth and relationship with the world of the hive, but also relationship with ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's what it's done is you walk in a figure eight, and you go to one end, you curve back through, cross over, you make the vesica, and then you go back again. And in that time, you don't talk. You keep your. In fact, it's good though. You can close your eyes, but it's really good to just look out.
Right,
look out, looking, and continuing the walk. And if you have something that you need help with, you ask for that, and then you begin the walk. And the walk is kind of like working with Tai Chi, but it's also like working with the sticks, the oracle of working with, what is
The Ogo?
No, I Ching.
Oh, the
I
I
Ching.
Ching.
Oh, I Ching.
That what you really do is you take your problem and you go through it, and you walk out of it, and then you walk back into it, and you walk through it and into it until finally you unravel it.
Yeah.
Or and finally the pattern gets dissolved, and because you enter it, because you take time to enter the power of the figure eight and the infinity. And now, right now, it's got the drumming, and that's like in the middle of the walk. So we'll go through a bunch of walks.
Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, I think Christina reminded me too, like after you do it for like 10 minutes of that, then the drumming reminds you to come to the center,
Yes.
which is like the center knot of home,
Yes.
and to pause. And we created the music so that the drumming sequence would signal that return to home, and where you gather yourself, and
you
what
gave us that idea, and it was fabulous.
and it's like it
helps
allows
you know where you are in time.
Exactly,
in your
because you
walk, too.
start traveling, and you are traveling the inner landscape, and so the music helps you to stay anchored to the path and to the power of that figure eight, and then when you come to that center knot and gather yourself, then when you're done and the next sequence of the music comes, then you reverse the order of the walking the figure eight.
You just go in a new direction.
You just go in a new direction. It's not like reversing it, but what you do is you take everything that you've just allowed to gather, and then you use this last part of the Lemniscate walk to integrate and assimilate what you've taken in for
like
healing.
It's like
It's
past,
like allowing
present,
yourself
future.
to heal. Yeah.
This
Having
is where you pack
conversation.
up,
Yes.
and you
That's
send
right,
it back to
to
sender.
That's exactly
Oh my
right.
gosh,
You
that's so
realize
true.
what you've come to, and then you take it into your life. Yeah.
I think what I have loved the most with the Lemniscate is taking 1 foot forward. So it's not like just taking a casual walk around it. It's 1 foot leading, bringing up the other, next foot,
It's like a slow
It's
intentional.
a flow, and
Yeah.
that just, to me, is really,
Isn't that
can make
amazing?
it, well, and it mentally,
Yeah.
it changes your whole rhythm of not going shuffling through as a walk.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
determined will walk.
And I love how you can use a couple of rocks
Yes.
that
yeah,
resonate with you, or some of your favorite rocks, and you can put them at both ends,
Into
and
the
then
loops.
you can walk around, and that's kind of neat. It incorporates the elementals, and kind of
It's a way of
things
being
like
in the world.
that anchored. I like
And I think the whole
that word.
thing about the long spoon is keep bringing people back to every month a way to be in the world. I think the hardest thing to develop and to integrate is we call practice.
Yeah.
But the reason it's hard is we call it practice. We separate it out from living. We separate it out from other things that we do. And so what we have to do is start making our living practice. So you can, like the Lemniscate, you go back and forth, you layer it, you come back to it again, and then you think, oh, I can do this with this. And so all at once you do these layers, and these layers then all at once become your practice living.
Yeah.
And then living in a practice is not separated from living, period. And I think that's the hardest thing. We have armor and all kinds of wardrobe that put us on a certain path, and we must, do it in a chronological order. And so what we have found, and I have found that it's at times like the practice yoga, or the practice of qigong, or the practice of meditating, or the practice of doing anything that takes you inward and solidifies you, can be layered together.
Yeah.
They don't need to be separated out. So you're cooking in the kitchen, and what you do every time you fold things over, you're in the lemniscate.
Exactly.
Oh my
When you're
gosh.
stirring, I have done that very thing. I will, if I'm stirring a pot of something, I will suddenly stop and start stirring in a figure 8. And then, or kneading dough, I'll do it in a figure 8.
I
Or
even do
will-
it stirring my coffee with the cream or coconut oil. I'll do it even
That
with
is,
my coffee.
it's perfect. And you've shown us, we've talked so much about that, how to layer your practice in your everyday, and that actually inspired us to do this music, because if you don't have the time or space or whatever to do an actual physical Lemniscate walk that has so much beauty and power in it, but you can have just as much of that same exploration and travel and healing in your mind. I mean, you can do a meditation with this, like if you have to spend time in the kitchen doing dishes or folding laundry or whatever, you could put this piece of music on and it emulates the Lemniscate, the whole figure 8. So in your mind, you can mentally bring yourself to that moment and bring your practice to that moment while you're doing something every day. And so you layer your practice that way.
A man who taught Kung Fu, a teacher, Robert and I went. We wanted to, at the Y, we wanted to consider maybe, was it some kind of Qigong martial arts. And we went there, and of course we're one of the older people. And he was so sweet. He came over and he told us, we said we're trying to work out where we can come there. And he says, well, you also can just sit here and you can just watch. Because he said, you're doing it and watching it. And he said,
Wow.
I did that for a whole year before I began doing this. And I thought, this is a lot of integrating. It's like, be patient with ourselves that we are going to watch it. We are going to try to get it in. And then all at once you turn around and it's there.
Yeah.
And it's like the other day I was like, so much was going on. We were building so many things and I hadn't got to do my yoga. And I really thrive on that. And then I realized that when I went in there to do different things, I could do pieces of it.
Yeah.
And do a piece and let that flow into the next thing I was going to do. And that if you become more and more aware of your body, more and more aware of your spirit, more and more aware of the outfits that you've worn for years, that you can start shedding them. And I think as you watch this beautiful slideshow, as we're talking about all this, this is our layers.
Yeah.
This is our Lemniscate walk that we have done for 30 years together. Where, look at all those glasses, and all those different ways to see. That it didn't happen all at once. And not everybody can tolerate as much as we have layered our home with.
Yeah.
We actually have layers behind layers. But it's also there, that is happening inside of us. We have outfits over outfits over outfits over outfits. And you begin to wonder which one. You're like Superwoman jumps out of the phone booth, or Superman, and you wonder where that all came from. And people get impatient with it, but if you can allow everything to be practiced, even in intention, it will start happening.
Now the
And
abundance.
that's the Lemniscate.
Yeah,
my
the
gosh.
abundance that you see in the slideshow that you're watching is through intention. All of this was moments of intention, moments of a desire, a want, and a need that was present that we listened to.
Yeah.
And we chose to be untaught.
Mm-hmm.
We chose to come into our intuitive by teaching ourselves to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And we had teachers within us, and within us, and within us.
Mm-hmm. Nesting dolls of teachers.
And that feels
That's cool.
really hard because you can't really explain that to people. People are used to having someone outside of themselves teaching them. And they get certificates, and the certificates
that is
help
so
take
true.
away the doubt of what they're doing. We had to live with all the doubt of no certificate.
Yeah.
But our work is about living through the doubt into belief.
Yeah.
And it's a huge journey.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's even hard for us to believe.
Sure it is. Yeah.
And day by day, we have to do that walk.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
yeah,
I love that. That's been one of the things that has meant the most to me about this work and traveling inside of the books, the art, everything that comes through, is that it always points me back to myself, to inside of me. It never like points me to a philosophy or a belief system or a person or anything. It
Or
always,
something with a ceiling.
yeah, it's always got the finger pointing back to me, to my inner teacher, and to being able to trust it and not doubt it and listen to it. And that has been the greatest gift to me, and that's what I've not found anywhere else. Why I love it so much, because everything else wants you to turn outside of yourself and follow it or them or whatever, and this always brings you back to finding the perfection of yourself and believing in it and going beyond the doubt,
me too.
layer by layer.
I agree. I think this is a very phenomenal too, profound, that we're talking about this at Christmas time, and we're talking about the wardrobe,
Yes.
you know, and packing it up. And I remember, oh, there's Santa Claus right there. The whole thing about Santa and why Robert and I love it so is that it's one of the biggest things in our childhood that brought belief out of us. That the spirituality of the divine was in many, many religions, and that, but there was this magic that was there that nobody wanted to talk about. The magic of the baby Jesus, the magic in Christmas, the magic of Santa Claus. And in the story of Santa Claus, the coat is it. It's his wardrobe. He actually has to, in the fun movies of Santa Claus, he has to actually, he takes the coat. It's given to him. In later films, it's not given to just anybody. And if they don't have the intent to truly make the North Pole their home and to surrender to being Claus, and the whole process is in those films, but the coat, that is the wardrobe. And you surrender to what that wardrobe is. So when you begin this spiritual journey, you are in a journey to have that mantle, that mantle of belief inside of you. That belief is when we call the 10 of 10. Belief is one of the 10 of 10. You have to have it soundly to move to the other part. And so we love Christmas because Christmas strengthens belief in the world. And it's belief. It's not the presents. It's not, they get so mad at this character. He is the character. He is the soul of belief. He had to absolutely surrender all of his life, his whole wardrobe. He had to pack up and send back to sender. He didn't live there. Like his whole identity.
Yeah.
Right. Oh my
But
gosh.
in it, he becomes this being of light.
Yes.
That and I think when people go on this journey, that is our biggest challenge, is to embody the mantle that we took on.
Yeah.
It's really, you think it's silly. Oh, I love these dolls.
Mm-hmm.
You think it's silly. To me, they carry a lot of magic. But you think the magic is in us. It's how we see them. The magic is between our hearts, our soul, our mind, and that image. So it's the word and image, both joining to create that. Create that. That's why we see Santa Claus. Oh, I love this piece at the show. Why we do this? It's not the gifts. It's not frivolous. He is a being that establishes belief, and belief is one of the 10 things that you must have to actualize the isness of yourself.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Oh.
We've included in this, our last show, some of the things that, like from fairy tales and the characters in the council that's important in the last show we did. I think you'll enjoy seeing bits of it.
I know I'm enjoying seeing it again.
I know.
Yeah.
I look at her in the woods. I mean,
I'm always amazed how you do such a wonderful job with your photography of close-ups, and it really brings the vision in close to you, so that you are focused into kind of a narrow bend or a curve, and it really rounds up the whole picture. And speaking of
You
pictures,
always
there,
make things look alive.
Yeah.
Because they are,
see
but
the animation.
you catch it in a way that animates.
that's what my mother always did. And I am so glad to have that gift from her. She could
That's a beautiful gift.
animate almost anything. She could set little dolls up, and they were like alive to me. And when she and I would do a Christmas village, and she lived in this where I lived when I was raising the children. She would do her village, and I would do my village. And I'd go over to her house, and if I hadn't done my village, she had already done her. If I'd done my village, she had to run home and do her village. and when I'd go to see her village, it was like, oh my God. It was like everything was already playing, and they just stopped because I was watching.
Right.
And she breathed, she could animate. She animated the sleep dolls in this trunk that I used to just be fascinated with.
Wow.
Just really. So thank you for saying that. That is the greatest gift that I think I got from my mom.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a powerful gift that you have that she passed on, that lineage.
Yeah.
Well, and there's a belief, as you were saying that they actually are doing something. These scenes are actually alive. So when you look, they stop. You know, so that's the magic in it, is that you know, even though they've stopped, you know that they're still going. They're still living, they're still playing.
I love their wardrobes.
I love their wardrobes.
The alchemist's wardrobes.
It's so cool to just briefly. I just wanted to share too that with all that we've been talking about, it's funny that 2 years ago in December, this very week, just that's when I passed in all of my old wardrobe of 15 years of being an occupational therapist and wanting to you know leave that healthcare world behind and believing that there's something more. And so this has really nurtured me, and I'm looking forward to expanding and exploring more of this long spoon this month, because it's really important, and I'm glad I got to return to sender on that.
That's a beautiful thing. Thank you for including
so
that.
it's nice to have lots of tools like this work and the Lemniscate to help process those things, and
because there's
the
a lot of
patterns
emotions in returning an old wardrobe, old patterns to cinder.
Absolutely.
You know, and anything that helps to unravel that and resolve it and bring it into an integrated accumulation of yourself, really.
And it happened in December, which is a magical time.
Yeah, it
you
really
can eliminate
does.
the dark. So.
Yeah, I just did those this afternoon.
Beautiful.
I did collages of the show. because this is a time of remembering in December.
Yeah.
Actually, for I don't know how many years, we did 18 December shows.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly, I think we did one at another time, but shows at the library. So we became kind of the spirit of Christmas, and we took it seriously.
Yeah.
We believe in belief, and the journey towards that, and the wardrobe, the mantle that must be sent back,
Yeah.
so that we can become like Santa Claus,
Yeah.
that we can become the gift giver of belief.
Mm-hmm. Which is a wonderful
so
thing to
about
do and be. You know, the nice thing that I want to point out, since this is probably up towards the front, near the front end of the long spoon page that you're getting, that the layout is so beautifully done in the fact that the storytelling that you've done with your collages.
Yeah.
So you have the image with the words. So you really are, as you advance down the page, you're reading your way through the images, that what the images are speaking, what they're saying, giving support and comfort during the month of December, which is the month of such an expansion of belief, a stretch for some people, and as the dark gets heavier and heavier and darker, it's balanced out with a sense of belief and hope in something that a lot of people do not see. It is invisible to them. So by you being a member into the Long Spoon area, you are saying to us and to yourself that I want to be fed and I want to feed this sense of spirit of compassion, creativity, expansion, love. And that's what this is about. This is to give that to you all and to receive it from you all.
Yeah.
We have a current, that round
I love
current
that.
going
I
through
love
this.
that.
And there's so much fiber here because it's really.
I know, I love the
a class
fiber.
of
You're going to
witness.
love
so
this
delicious.
this video. Oh,
Yeah.
it's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
That, I love
Mhm.
that too.
It's
I
all-
really feel like it feels to me that belief is the resolution and the antidote to doubt. And
Oh,
it's
God,
like,
you're so
and I
true.
think that that's why I'm so personally looking very forward to the exploration on this long spoon, because like you were saying, in this dark time of the year and of life and everything, a lot of times that doubt can try to be so loud, and as you travel through and unlayer the levels of doubt from your past, your life, and everything.
That's the darkness at December.
That's
just
right.
like the light, the solstice, the Christ
Yes,
child. They
to
have to
bring
travel
that back,
through.
to travel it back, to bring the belief, and so everything gives. Everything in this spoon, I can tell, is going to be an exploration of how to bring that light and that belief in those dark places.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to having something that I can go to when I'm in those dark places and be inspired and come back to belief, because that is the true what I want.
I love that. Sandra,
Thank
did
you.
you have something you wanted to say?
Well, it's just kind of interesting to know
conclusion.
that I've lived through for 30 years with all of this, and to realize how much I keep changing, even with living here for 30 years.
Yeah, when someone says at your age you can't change.
Yeah, no,
Not true.
man, it's every day changing, but it's all magic.
I guess we're kind of coming to the
Yeah.
end. Everybody's
Thank you
Thank
for
you. It's
the
had time to talk.
conversation.
I
Thank
love
you.
these magical worlds.
Aren't they wonderful?
Yeah.
The magical
These
whimsical
are the magical
worlds.
worlds that we get to live inside every day. When we
Yeah.
take a minute, we
Yeah.
can stop
There's
and turn.
always something there.
It's
because
always
we
there.
changed our wardrobe
Yeah.
and sent it back.
So enjoy
love
the
it.
conversation and the rest of the site. There's so much in this month's content that I think you'll be very deeply nurtured. And then also know that within the entire site, outside of the membership area, there's a lot to take in. Anytime you feel that you can give yourself time, if you can give yourself time, then you'll be able to give it to someone else as well.
Yes. And Dale Sherholt is included in the slideshow, and his beautiful wife,
Marianne.
in some of the collages, because they saw in us something. They saw in us our potential of changing the world, and that matched up with their desire. And so we were so lucky to have Dale be our videographer at this last show.
Yeah.
And then he created a whole show which we'll share on this
documentary.
a documentary on this long spoon.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fabulous.
Thanks to
fabulously
him.
done.
I love how much you all talk
Marianne.
about color.
Yeah, and Marianne just totally backed him on it.
Mm-hmm.
She really was wonderful. Her help was wonderful.
So,
Well,
thank you
all.
very
Thank
much.
you all.
We
This
did
is
quite well.
Suzanne.
And Robert.
Thanks for having us, Christina. I'm
And
Christina.
Suzanne.
This is Sandra. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and we
This is the tabletop conversation
for December.
for December.
Enjoy.